Timmy went out and found Santa Claus suits. So can you imagine? Huh? Oh, they had fox feet and fox tails too. A whole lot more. Okay?
Krista,
So,
do you remember this?
so these guys look like foxes. Can you imagine that? And they're out walking around, and now they got Santa Claus suits on. Well, who ever heard such a thing, right? You guys listening? So
Why isn't there tooth white?
they're walking down the street, and they see a globe, a shiny globe on the street. You know, it kind of looks like a snow globe, you know, with snow coming down, kind of like that one right there. And they picked it up, and it started shining like crazy. And all of a sudden, the cops came. And the cops came with the lights flashing. They were sure these foxes dressed up like Santa had stole something. Well, guess what happened?
What?
The cops got out of their car and they were scared. These foxes looked really scary. Even though they had Santa Claus suits, they looked really, really scary. And so the cops got back in the car and they drove away because they were so scared.
What about the loose tooth pie?
Huh?
What about the loose tooth pie?
The loose tooth? Well, I'm getting to that, okay? So you can see the big nose they have on them? Well, the big nose started to itch on Timmy. Timmy's nose started to itch because that big thing was kind of right by his nose. And so he started scratching his nose and he was rubbing, and all of a sudden he hit his tooth and his tooth fell out. You believe that? And so he looked all over for it because he wanted to find his tooth because the tooth fairy was gonna come and he couldn't find his tooth. So, you know, this big globe, the shiny globe, they put that globe down on the ground and they found his tooth. Now he could go home and get money from the tooth fairy. Isn't that clever? These guys are smart, don't you think? So then they decided they were having so much fun, they went down the street and they saw a costume party. And they thought, well, we're all dressed up in a costume, we'll go in there. So they go inside this building and they laugh and play and they run around. But there was a great big bear. Obviously, it was a guy dressed up in a bear costume, right? Well, you know, foxes are scared of bears, right? So the bear went, "Argh." And Timmy and Ralphie ran out of that place so fast they couldn't see straight because they were so scared of this big bear. Okay, now the fun part is, because Edie can tell a Timmy story too. After they ran out of the place with the big bear, then what happened? Then what happened? Yeah, you know. They were running down the street, and Ralphie tripped over his tail. Then what happened?
His teeth fell out.
His teeth fell out too?
Yeah.
He hit his mouth in the sidewalk and his teeth all fell out? Well, you don't get tooth fairy money for that.
Not all the way out.
Not all the way out, just kind of hanging out. Then what happened? Freya, what happened then?
No, I meant not all of them came out.
No?
Just one. One.
Just one tooth? Okay, so then what happened? Then it was getting really late. And they had to get home, and Ralphie was losing a tooth or two, and Timmy lost a tooth, and they were a little bit scared about going home with no teeth. Then what happened?
But they had teeth.
Well, they had some teeth, yeah?
I don't know.
Okay, so then they found a couple little kids in the street, and these kids looked at this fox, these two foxes in the Santa Claus gear, and they were just in awe. They couldn't believe how cool this fox and Santa Claus was. And so Timmy and Ralphie thought, wouldn't it be fun to give our costumes to these little kids and let them play Santa Claus foxes the next night? So they took off their costumes and took off their fox masks, and they gave these two little kids their outfits. And they went home and they had a great night. They had ice cream when they got home, and they had a great night's sleep. And guess what happened the next night?
What?
Merle, that was one of the kids they gave it to, and
Henry.
and Merle and Jonathan, they're the ones that got the fox outfits, right? So they went out the next night in these same outfits. Then what happened? Okay, so when you come up with, that's your challenge. That's your project for the next time we see each other, is you tell me when we get together again what Jonathan and Merle did in these outfits with the fox.
Okay, I'll
and
tell
the
you
thing.
now.
Okay, tell me now.
You learned that in college?
Yeah.
I got cookies.
What'd they do? They went out and did what?
Got cookies.
They got cookies? How'd they get them?
Because it was Halloween.
Oh, they went trick or treating. Yes?